Hello, everybody. Happy Friday afternoon. Hope yours is going well. And today we have another Seahawks video to get to. But first, we just hit 1,380 subscribers on YouTube. I want to thank all my subscribers, old and new, for getting us to this point. Please like the video down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Once again, if you guys were not watching my videos, I would not be making them. Let's keep on pushing these numbers. And again, thank you for getting me to this point. So it's Friday, and it's not really Blue Friday this time because there's no Seahawks football this week. There's no game. We got a bye week. We're sitting at home watching the other teams play. So I decided this week I was going to do a video about how the Seahawks fans can watch football this weekend and figure out who they should be rooting for, because just because the Seahawks aren't playing doesn't mean that important things for the Seahawks aren't happening out there. So I'm going to go through each game this weekend plus Monday, and we're going to figure out who we should be rooting for in each game. Now, a lot of this stuff will probably seem pretty obvious to you, but maybe some of it won't be. And we're just going to have some fun going through the Week 6 slate and seeing who we should be pulling for in each matchup. So I'm going to start at the top and go down. We got the Texans squaring off with the Titans in the first game. We should definitely be rooting for the Titans to win. If the Texans lose, they will be 1-5 and 5 games back in their division. That will put them in a position where they very clearly need to start fire selling. And for reasons I went into in my video 2.5 weeks ago, we really want the Texans to go into fire sale mode because the Seahawks could stand to benefit from them trading away some of their veterans. So definitely rooting for the Titans here. It may not seem like it means anything, but it definitely means something. And I think it could end up meaning quite a bit to the Seahawks team. So we're rooting for the Titans. Colts versus Bengals, another game that on its surface seems like means nothing to the Seahawks, but we will be rooting for the Colts for the exact same reason. The Bengals are now 1-3-1. We don't need them to get another win and suddenly start thinking, hey, maybe we can actually put together a decent season. Let's not trade anybody. Let's just try to get to maybe, 7 wins with our rookie QB. Maybe we can build some momentum into 2021. Obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs this year because their division's really tough, but the Bengals could start feeling like, hey, let's run off some wins to at least build confidence for next year. So we want the Bengals to lose, so they'll be 1-4-1, and at 1-4-1, it will be hard to justify not trading some of their veterans. A.J. Green has already asked for a trade. You got to believe some of the other veterans on that team are kind of feeling the same way. So definitely pulling for the Colts. Next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings, and this game's actually kind of interesting. Both these teams are pretty clearly either in or on the brink of fire sale mode. The Falcons most especially, but the Vikings are 1-4. They're in the same division as the Packers, who have started this season out very well. They are in the same division as the Bears, who have also started off the season well. So they clearly look like the third best team in that division on a good day. On a bad day, they may even be worse than the Lions, who have actually managed to start the season a little better than the Vikings. So obviously, if the Falcons lose and go to 0-6, that buries them in the fire sale range. But they're probably in the fire sale range anyway, even if they win this game. So I think we're actually rooting for the Falcons. If the Falcons win, both teams are going to be 1-5, and both teams are going to feel like they need to start shedding some of their veterans. And as I've detailed before, the Seahawks stand to benefit from teams doing that. So if the Vikings move to 2-4, they're still not a good team, but they might be able to talk themselves into something like, hey, we lost to some really good teams to start the season. We should have beaten the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. Now we've got these 2 wins. Let's just keep it rolling and see if something good can happen. But if both these teams are 1-5 after their game on Sunday, both teams should be looking to shed some veteran contracts. So I think we're going to pull for the Falcons in this one. Next up, we have the Broncos at the Patriots. I think this game's actually maybe not going to get played because the Patriots have some COVID-related stuff happening at their team training facility or something. But assuming it does get played, which for the moment I think is what's going on, we'll be rooting for the Patriots. Same reason. The Broncos, 1-3. If they move to 1-4, they will be further in the let's fire sale the team zone. There weren't that many players on the Broncos that I wanted, but there were at least a couple who caught my eye. To me, Shelby Harris is really the only guy that really did much for me. I think Jarrell Casey's out for the season, actually, so I messed up on that. But the Broncos losing would definitely put them in a zone where they would just have to accept that this is not their year, and they should be trying to get what they can for a couple of veteran pieces on their roster. So, rooting for the Patriots here. Moving on, we have the football team taking on the New York Giants. This is a lot like that Falcons Vikings game. You have two terrible teams that should be fire selling and will probably start fire selling in the near future. But if the football team wins, they may very well be tied for first place in their division. Now, it buries the Giants basically 3 games back of the lead of the division because they'll be down in the tiebreaker to the football team and the Cowboys, and they'll be 2 games back on top of it. But this is kind of an interesting little game theory thing where if the Giants win and move to 1-5, and it pushes the football team to 1-5, they'll be quite possibly 1 game back of the division lead, with the Giants being down a tiebreaker to that team as well. So, can they really go into fire sale mode if they're that close to being able to win the division? I do not know. But my gut tells me we're better off rooting for the Giants to win, get their first dub, and push both teams to 1-5. If both teams are 1-5, then they can harbor delusions of winning the division all they want to, but it's a very, very bad football team. Both these teams are very, very bad and should be looking to shed some veteran contracts. So I say we root for the Giants here. You could make an argument either way, though. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. Next up, we have Ravens at Eagles. I mean, we're rooting for the Ravens here. The Eagles, if they lose this game, will be 1-4-1, which will pretty much sink whatever chance they have of winning the division. Although, depending on what else happens, they may very well still be within half a game. So don't assume anything. That being said, I mean, the Ravens are obviously going to win this game easily. They're probably going to win it by about 30 or 35 points. The Eagles don't even have Lane Johnson now, and they may be shutting Lane Johnson down. But the Eagles have a lot of players that I would be interested in trading for if they go into fire sale mode. So more losses is just going to make that easier and more likely to happen. So rooting for the Ravens here, and there should be no drama. Browns at Steelers. This game has no consequence to the Seahawks in any which way, shape, or form, I'm pretty sure. Unless we still have Pittsburgh's 5th-round pick from the Nick Vannett trade, which I'm pretty sure we used in the most recent draft. So I can't think of anybody we need to root for here. Yeah, this is one game that has no consequence to the Seahawks, no matter how you slice it. Nobody in our division plays these teams, so we don't even need to worry about strength of schedule. This game's just a big whatever. All right, next up we have the Bears and the Panthers. This is an interesting one. Both these teams have played pretty well to start the 2020 season, and I don't think either team is that good. The Bears are 4-1, but it's a pretty soft 4-1. The Panthers have reeled off 3 straight wins, and they're doing some things well, but I don't think they're one of the best teams in the conference. To me, both these teams are probably average teams that have just come out on the right side of variance so far. You could make a pretty good argument either way for who we should be rooting for. We don't play either of these teams this season. I think it's more likely that we end up in a wild card battle with the Bears than the Panthers. So I guess we're going to be rooting for Carolina here. They are small favorites. They have looked like a middle-of-the-road team that is now peeled off 3 straight in a row against some pretty flawed teams. But I think we're rooting for Carolina here, even it out a little bit, get both teams to 4-2. If the Bears win, that's not the worst thing either, because it'll put the Panthers at 500, and with their somewhat limited talent pool, especially with no McCaffrey for who knows how else long, it'll be hard for them to dig out of it. But I feel like Carolina is going to be the team we're pulling for here. All right, next we have the Lions and the Jaguars, and this kind of feels like it can go either way to me. I think both these teams are on the verge of fire selling. This is actually tough because theoretically, whoever wins this game can feel kind of okay about where their 2020 season is standing right now. If the Jacksonville Jaguars win, they already have more wins than most people thought they were going to get all season. If the Lions win, they're going to be a game short of 500. So both these teams with a win this weekend could feel pretty good about where they are, and whoever loses is probably going to feel like, well, it's time to shed some of these veteran contracts. So I guess we're better off with the. I guess it would probably have to be we would want the Jaguars to win, but it can really go either way here. This is a tough one. It feels like one of those games where the loser is going to go into fire sale mode and the winner will hang around for a couple weeks more to see what's up. Both these teams have really good competition in their division, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them to claw their way back into it, but kind of feels like one of those loser leaves town kind of matches. All right, now we're on to the afternoon slate. Let's go through it. Jets at Dolphins. Pretty bad game. The Jets are probably the worst team in the league, and they're already showing signs that they're ready to blow it up as much as they can. They're already apparently open to trading Quinnen Williams. The Dolphins, on the other hand, have actually pulled off a couple of dubs to start the season. They beat the 49ers in epic fashion last weekend. They might feel like they don't need to blow it up. They might feel like they're doing some things well. They might actually feel like it's worth it to keep some of this talent around so they can maybe pull off 6 or 7 wins this year and get some momentum for 2021. You don't know how these teams are going to think about it. I actually think we're rooting for the Jets here because the Jets are in fire sale mode no matter what. The Dolphins could get into fire sale mode in a couple weeks if they lose the next couple games because 2-3 looks a hell of a lot better than 2-5. So I think we're rooting for the Jets here, but the Jets aren't going to win, so whatever. A Dolphins win also just puts the Jets in a worse and worse position and makes them more and more likely to want to, move some players. Moving on, we have the Packers at Buccaneers. Now things get a little spicy for Seahawks fans because this actually involves our playoff positioning, not just hypothetical trades. If the Packers win, which they are currently favored to do, it does put the Buccaneers in a hole, and that's not a bad thing for the Seahawks. We may end up competing with the Buccaneers for a wild card spot or seeding, but there's no doubt that we want the Buccaneers to take care of this game and find a way to win because the Packers do not have very many opportunities to lose games this year. If I pull up their schedule, if you look at the Packers' schedule, I'm pulling it up here right now. Come on, freaking thing. Okay. After Tampa Bay, they go to Houston, Minnesota, Frisco, Jacksonville, Indy, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, Carolina, Tennessee, Chicago. Not a lot of opportunities to lose games here. The Colts are decent. The Bears are decent. The Panthers are decent. Titans are really good. But all these teams, they feel pretty flawed, and it's just going to be tough for the Packers to take L's, so we need them to take one here. I don't think anybody can dispute that we are rooting for Tampa Bay here. And next up, we have Sunday Night Football, Rams at 49ers. This is a pretty self-explanatory one. The Niners are toast pretty much at this point, no matter what happens. In fact, let's go ahead and do the same thing. If you take a look at their schedule, it's tough to find obvious wins for them, especially after they just got blown out by the Dolphins, which lets you know they can lose to anybody. But then they have the Patriots, they got the Seahawks, they got the Packers, Saints, Rams again, Bills. It really might be not until this game, mid-December, before they have a game they can square up with and say, yeah, that feels like a dub. That feels like a game that the Niners should win. Until then, they're going to be playing some very tough competition, and it's going to be an uphill battle for them to get wins. So if they sneak one against the Rams this weekend, that should be no problem for us. The Niners will keep losing games in the future, and we need the Rams to start taking some L's. Looking back at it, it's really unfortunate that the Rams didn't lose Game 1 to the Cowboys because we really need the Rams to have had that L going into the rest of the season. But yeah, we're definitely rooting for the Niners here. The Niners are pretty much toast no matter what, even if they sneak a win here. So got to keep hoping that the Rams drop some games so we can get some space because I'm telling you, playing the Rams this year for the Seahawks is going to be a very big challenge. I'm not looking forward to it. And then we got Monday Night Football. We have 2 games this week, Chiefs at Bills. No preference here. We do play the Bills this year, so I guess, excuse me, I guess we're rooting for the Bills because it helps the strength of schedule in the event of very tight tiebreakers. So we want the Bills' record to be good as possible, so it can help us there, but that's a very unlikely scenario to matter. Final game of the week, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys. Andy Dalton, don't fail us now. Find a way. Find a way. Let's get the Cowboys to 3-3. I mean, the Cowboys may very well win their division, but they are no real threat to, outseed the Seahawks with Andy Dalton and with the other injuries they already have. Their ceiling right now is probably 9 wins, probably closer to 8 wins, so they're no threat to this Seahawks team. The Cardinals, on the other hand, they haven't started the season out great, but they could be. And those matchups against Arizona later this year are going to be tough. So 100% pulling for the Cowboys this weekend. Ooh, excuse me. That'll do it, guys. That's the slate of games this week. It's an interesting slate in a few areas, but that's who to root for. That is who the Seahawks should probably be rooting for, with all the information I just gave you. So what do you guys think of the games this weekend? Who are you going to be rooting for? Do you disagree with me anywhere? What's your take? Do you do things like this? Do you watch other games and think about the little edges the Seahawks can gain if a certain team wins or loses? Because I know I do. And yeah, this is kind of how I think about watching non-Seahawks football right now. Just keep looking for the little edges that the Seahawks can get, and then run with him. And with that, peace out, go Hawks. See you guys in stream tonight. Gonna be a fun weekend for us. We get to just chill, relax, and see what happens. Peace.